Today will be a very interesting one where we'll talk about how we can implement a JWT-based authentication for our chat application and definitely HTMX compliance. Well, long story short, to get started, the first thing that we will be referring to or we will study through is this article called User Authentication in Go, provided by Web Dev Station. Besides, we also look into the HTMX documentation, and there will be some tools that we will be used along the way as well to do the JWT authentication. And before I start anything, I just want to do a very quick sharing on how the game plan is going to look like. First, we have two separate categories where one side of the server, we allow any user to log in, and another side we allow only authorized login users can use. And before the user request enter into our controller, where we will have the logic, all these operations inside, before we reach there, we want to have a middleware, like something in the middle, to do the guarding. Like they will guard our routes against unauthorized access by doing the JWT token check. And to briefly explain what is cookie, it is something that we can attach into client requests, like the context, where it can be like a key value pair, where we can put in any kind of key, any kind of values. And in our case, we will use cookie to put in the access token and also the refresh token that are required to do the proper authentication. And finally, what does a JWT token means? Well, a JWT token is essentially a token that is generated, but it contains some data inside. Well, the data is called as a claims, where inside the claims we can put in our custom information like the username or emails or whatever things that we want to know about the user quickly. And secondly is its standard claims, like the expiry time. So we can set that, this token is valid until like 1 hour only or how many minutes only. And on top of this, the generated token, we can also sign with a secret. It's like associated with a random string that only our server knows. Other people don't know one. So this is a very important private secret. So this secret is going to be used to sign your token, so that whenever you do any authorization in the future, you know that this token is generated or issued by you, because the secrets matches. Like when you are doing encoding and you are doing decoding, the secret is always the same, right? And the final concept that I would like to share is the access token and refresh token. So when we talk about JWT authentication, right, the upside is that now you don't need to keep the token in your database. It can help you to save a lot of database usage. You don't need to, whenever any request come in, you do the database check if this user is is logged in or not, and etc. Like there will be a very costly operation, looking at potentially you have so many requests coming in and out. So we use a JWT token to do a sort of like a validation that doesn't require a database. However, that also means that it is basically, once you issue the access token already, it's impossible to revoke it, unless you do a database check. Alright, so what is recommended is that you keep the access token short term, few minutes to an hour, and then you have another token called a refresh token, where the user can then send the refresh token together. And when the server knows that your access token is more than 1 hour already, is already expired, then the server will decide whether or not to issue you with a new access token, with the refresh token that you're holding. Well, by doing this, you have a short-term token that is when user expire already, they cannot access already, and you have a refresh token that you can potentially first thing is you can use it to refresh the access token definitely, and then probably this one I'm not sure like how you want to implement it. You can add in another layer of, say, revoking the refresh token. So when you don't want the user to access your system already, you can add in a custom logic to revoke it from the user. So that, like, you can say like set cookie, remove this person's refresh token. Yeah, and by doing that, the next time they want to try logging in, they won't be able to do so already, because the refresh token is essentially invalid or already removed from the user's request. Well, that one you can customize it. But for today, I'm going to implement this JWT authentication with cookie, with a very simple login form, and there are a lot of things that will be covered. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, we have a chart page, but the chart page is not enough. Remember, we want to have a form that is essentially for user to log in. So first thing is, we move all our chart into another file called chart.temper, and we use the index.temper as our login page. So like this, and then remember, index page, we don't need the socket connection anymore, but we'll need something else. We'll move this into a form, and when a form is submitted, it will trigger a post request from the HTMX to call the login function, and inside it will then pass in, one is a username, another is a okay, another is a password, and with a type of password, okay, like this, and button is going to be a type of submit, and then let's see the first page. Boom. Alright, now we have the form already, but there are two bad things. First is, it's a bit crowded, so I add a gap of 24 pixel. And secondly is, we can add in the color into text white so that we can see the button. Alright, so this is the game plan, and when we put in the username and password, we press the login, we expect to see a network request that is a post request that will contain the payload that we want to pass to the user, pass to the server to do the login. Alright, so everything makes sense as expected now. Secondly is, we want to have a /chart route that's used to render our chart page. However, remember, we want to add in the middleware for it, right? So to do this, we can create a thing called user group, or it's just a guarded route. Say I can say it's a guarded route is equals to e.group, and the prefix is /chart. So whatever the route that is within the /chart prefix will be guarded with our middleware afterwards. So we can say that it is a guarded route.get with nothing, so it's a /chart. It will render the chart page like this. Oh shit. Oh. Let me see if I have missed out anything. Okay. Probably it's because I need to empty cache a bit. Here. Right. So it looks and it behaves exactly the same as previously, just it becomes /chart instead of like the normal like the root root route. The root route will become our login form. Okay, now it's time for us to do a bit of preparations on the user object. Firstly, we want to have a user DTO. There is a struct that contain, for example, a username and a password, like this only, and maybe an ID lah. Okay, and we want to have a folder called services, and these services will be the place where we put in a user related information and all other logic inside. So we can have this new user. Remember to put in the packages name, the package first, and then I want to have a function get users to put in our mock users, because our problem now is that we don't have a database to keep our user information. We will do that in the near future, but not today. Today there are a lot more things that we want to do. Like, it will be super long if I do the database altogether. Okay, ID with a username and then with a password. Now, instead of using a plain text password, we can add in a bit of flavor here by using bcrypt to hash our password. Password hashing means that basically you make the password become a bunch of long strings that make the unauthorized users, they cannot, like, if people have access to a database, I mean, for example they see your password, they don't know who are you, and they don't know your password, or like when other people get other users information, they don't know how to decrypt it to the plain text password. That's the benefit. So you can then generate the password with a password byte, so it becomes like this. Your password is this with a cost of 8. So the cost, I think, is impacts the algorithm or the mechanism to do the password generation. I put this as an 8 because I see this in a tutorial, but you maybe adjust to other numbers if you found that you need to. Right, so the return value is going to be a byte array, so we just use string to convert to the string back. Now we got a list of mock users already. We want to also have a auth service. Maybe we just implement the login first. Okay, so let's copy the path and then add a post /login, and from here we do the password checking. First of all, get a username from the form. Remember that the data sent from our HTMX will be always a form value. So password and username, and we also want a login user variable that is on the DTO.user DTO type. So users is equal to services dot get users for every user if the username not equal to username, continue. Right, if it's continue, if it's the same, then we will do a bcrypt dot compare hash and password. So we'll compare the hash password with our current password, and then if the error is equals to nil, so if the user has the same username and then the password, it matches the hash password, so they will do a comparison right here then you will set the login user equal to user. Right, so if login user And then if there is a found user already, then we can break the loop lah. If login user is equal to new, then we will return that this user is unauthorized. Okay. Else I will return the redirect permanently. C dot echo dot redirect. Let me check how to redirect from this article. Permanent, right, this thing. Okay, so this is a status move permanently 301, and then this 301 will tell the client, our front end, to redirect to the target page. And this c.echo.reverse, right, is by name one, meaning that I can, it's a sort of like namespace. For example, if I do like this, right, user sign from, then whenever the c.echo.reverse is called, it will attempt to go to the slash components instead. But for us, right, we don't need to complicate things. We just slash chart will do. Yeah, so it will go to a slash chart immediately after logging in. However, remember that we want to issue JWT token here. So we want to issue it right here. We will do that later. Okay, so when user calls slash login, they get an unauthorized. If they provide a valid username and password, then they will immediately get redirected with a 301 move permanently to the chart page. However, you notice the issue. The URL here, right, it doesn't change to slash chart. This is because of the behavior of HTMX. They just treat things like the same page, but they swap all the HTML out and then put in the chart HTML in. So to solve this, there's this thing called hashtag replace URL. When in our form, where we put in the hashtag post, we say that hashtag replace URL equals to true, then it will change its behavior to replace the route as well. So you press the login, it will straight away go to slash chart. So this is the intended behavior. Now, we want to start setting up the JWT logic. To save time, I'm going to go through the code here, and identify the parts that we need to make a complete JWT authentication mechanism. So we have services called AutoGo with a package of services, and here I can say that the access token. Okay, so this is the cookie key. So the name is access token, where for signing the JWT token, as I mentioned just now, we can put in any random UUID, but remember to keep it secretly because that's used for your server to identify that this token is issued by you in the future. So we put in a randomly generated UUID here, and then let's go back again to the code here, right? And we have a struct. This spatial struct is called claims, where let's go get right. Okay, so this claim, it means that the attribute hold by the what did I do? Okay, alright, it means that this attribute is hold by it has a certain, this claim or this JWT token has a certain attributes that is associated with it. For example, I put a name here so that I can I know that the user's name by looking at the JWT token. And secondly is standard claims, where the standard claims contains the expiry time that we need in the future. Let me check my recording. Right. Let me drink some water. Okay, now we have the clamps ready. We want to go back to the code here. Okay, so we identify some important ones lah. Let's go through one by one. Okay, the first function is generate tokens and set the cookie. Definitely needed. Yeah, so we want to generate the access token and then set the token cookie. We don't want to set the user cookie because in our case we only have a username. I put a username lah. We only have username only, so we don't really need another cookie for user information. Okay. Secondly, generate an access token. So generating access token is also important, where we can set the expiry time as a 1 hour, as mentioned. Like access token, remember to put like a short-term one. Okay, and then we have a helper function called generate token, and then the secret is actually the JWT secret key. Okay, next, generate token helper function, where we tag in the user information, and the user information is supposed to be our DTO.user.DTO. Yeah, like this, and then here also DTO.user.DTO. Okay, so coming back, and then the second is expiry time. The third is the secret that we want to use for signing the JWT token. And from here, first step is we create the clamps, the attribute that we want the token to hold. Username, and then this one also is a username. Next will be the standard clamps, where we put in the expiry time here. And this one, right, if you look at the expiration time, it's actually a number of seconds instead of milliseconds. So some mistakes in the article. So standard clamps that expire after 1 hour, and then we use this new with clamps to generate the JWT token with an algorithm called the #S256 algorithm, quite standard. After generating a token, remember that it's important to sign your token with the secret that you have prepared, like the random string, so that when we do the middleware and then we do the decoding, it's going to use the same secret, and they just know that this is signed by the server. Let's go down a bit. So set token cookie is very important as well. Put it in. So http.cookie is used for setting the cookie header, where now we put in the name, token, and expiration. And if we see up here, name, token, and expiration, it means that it is the access token as a key, and the value is the token that we have generated, the JWT token, with the preset expiration time as well. HTTP only, it helps in preventing the client-side script from copying the cookie by using the script. So it's a little bit of safeguarding for our tokens. And finally, we have this JWT error checker. So error checker is also a very important one, because this is the handler that basically tells us that, whenever the user, right, you are not authorized to access the resource, please go back to the main page, which is our login page, like permanently. So these are all the preparations that we want to do. Finally, let's start providing the user with a token. So that is when we do this thing. Right, remember just now we have a to-do list. Okay, assign JWT token. Okay, so we have this services dot generate tokens as secrets, that will generate this token with for the login user, passing the context here. After generated, if the token is not generated successfully, then it will return an error say that the token is incorrect. Make sense? And then after that, we will just say that you go to the chart page. So to verify that we are doing things correctly, right, instead of like blindly code until the end, we can do a verification quickly by trying to log in. Boom. As soon as we log in, we see that there is a, so you go to application, cookies, and here you see that there's a new access token created with the value of this token. And this token, you can then copy it to go to the JWT.io and paste it to verify that the information is correct. First, it's signed by the #256 and it's definitely a JWT token type. And this is the claims. You see the username and also the expiration in seconds. You can also do like testing, like verify against your secret with this UI lah. But for my case, I don't want to do so because we will be adding the middleware very soon already. Alright, coming down to the authentication layer, this is the important one. Alright, so just now remember that we have this guarded route. So guarded route is where we can put in the safeguarding mechanism here, like copy the entire thing, and well, and here there's a tricky part. So when we go through the so this article, right, it's actually quite old already, and then this thing has been already deprecated, so it's asking us to use this echo JWT instead. So we shall follow it. So first step, copy the entire thing, and then go to a new route, paste in, boom, go get. Okay, after getting it, they ask us to use this echo.jwt, add in a configuration. So I can do like this. It's don't need. So guarded route, use the JWT with the secret that is JWT secret key. Okay, and then we can have other things as well, like the claims, token lookup, etc, etc. Just go here, come here, this random one, token lookup is the access token, and then the error handler is the services dot error checker. Okay, right, seems like everything is working out of the box. I didn't even change anything. Oh, I got an error. Okay, so what is the error? Could not import. So let's go get it. And then after getting it, run the air. Oh, we got an error now. So claims is not needed. And then this one become what? Error handler. An error handler expects to be a error context instead of a context error. So we can go here and then just swap the position of our parameter. A bit of difference here. And then we can see that, oh, now no more error. Okay. So finally, let's we are currently at the /chart, right? If we remove the access token and then we refresh again, we can see that we can no more access the chart. We will get redirected permanently to the login page if that fails. However, if we log into the system already, oh shit, we wait a minute. Okay. Let's try if what is the issue right here. Oh, Actually, they are not supposed to be redirected back one. Let me just empty cache and then go to /chart. Okay, so now it works. Probably just now it was like cached by our server or something, so we can't like simply remove the cookie and then without hard reload, empty cache and hard reload, it will catch in the cookie somewhere in the cache. But anyway, so that is roughly the plan. And finally, remember that we now have an access token, but it's only valid for 1 hour. So we also want the logic that can help us to refresh our token with the refresh token. Okay. Sorry, a bit tired. It's 1:44 my time now, but very quick one. Okay, let's go back to the here. Access token cookie name is okay. Refresh token cookie name, I need this, and I need a JWT refresh secret key, which means that I'll need to create another UUID just for the refresh token. Alright, so now this is done. Finally, we want to implement the JWT refresh token. Okay, so we generate the refresh token right here and then set the cookie afterwards. So let's go down a bit on set cookies. After setting the refresh access token cookie, we also set the refresh token cookie, where the refresh token cookie is going to be expired within 24 hours. So we paste this and then JWT refresh key refresh token cookie name. Okay. Now, we set a cookie of a refresh token with the token generated that's valid for 24 hours. We will also need to have this token refresher middleware. That is the final puzzle piece, so that we can generate a new token and provide a valid access token if the access token is already expired. So let's copy this thing in and then use the middleware. So we go to main.go. Let me check if I can put this inside. Yeah, actually we can put this inside the auth.go as well. Just put it right here at the bottommost. Well, token refresh. If the user is not authorized, don't do anything. Straight away go to the next one, and then user will be logged out immediately. Next, get the user from the context. Oh, so this one, getting a user, I think is about getting actually I need to check what is inside here, but let's get okay. After getting the user token, and then we get the clamps, and then from the clamps expiry time, convert it, check if it's within 15 minutes of expiry. If so, then I refresh with I get a cookie, the refresh token cookie, and then check if the refresh token is a valid token or not. So this is the refresh token secret key, and then after that, if the token is invalid, I say that it's unauthorized. If it is a valid one, then I will generate the cookie and set again with here is a DTO.user.DTO, so I assume that, oh shit, do I accidentally copy a bunch of things here? Okay, so coming back again, cookie is a refresh token cookie name, and here is a refresh secret key, and here is okay. So after generated a new token, right, this is going to be a DTO.user DTO instead, and the username is a clams.username. Well, that is all. Let's see what is this. Time.until. What is the time.until means? Like this. So if the time is within 15 minutes, then we will attempt to do a refresh. So the interval between the checking for the expiry time is not supposed to wait until it's finished, like, or already expired, I guess. So at least has some leeways. But I think even if we put like expire also should be fine lah, because this middleware will be run before the middleware of the access token checking. Yeah. So I just use the services dot middleware. Boom. So we have the token refresh middleware, and then after that we will have the access token middleware where we can do the checking. Boom. Okay, so now we have done essentially everything. Okay, super tiring for me. Hopefully I do everything correctly. Yeah, so we have the redirect to the chat, and then we have a refresh token, we have the access token now, and then we can do the operations as usual. Well, to do the checking, right, whether this logic is correct or not, we need to wait until the access token expires. We can also check by making the access token expiry time like much shorter, like 1 minute or so, like few seconds, so that the refresh token logic can be triggered immediately. So we can check the refresh token logic is working fine lah. Well, so that is all for the authentication setup. A lot of tedious steps, but it's a one-off thing. Once it's set up, then the other users all will be the same already. And as you can see, like HTMX actually really don't make a huge difference to normal way of backend plus template engine. Yeah. So using a cookie authentication and using a JWT-based authentication. With the same logic, we can even use like a OAuth provider to do an OAuth authentication lah, or other types of authentication. The concept is still the same, using cookies to maintain the user section. Well, that's all for my sharing of the day. Hope it is helpful for you in a way. I'll push the repository again so that you can always refer to it anytime you want to. Right, thanks. See ya.